So if you're looking for some of the best Buddhist books to read, if you're new to the religion or just, researching it, there are a few ones I want to recommend that I enjoy, I like, I found very beneficial, and that I think you will also. So just a caveat, you're going to have there's tons of Buddhist books out there, and you're going to have plenty of people that have their own opinions on like what the best books are. So of course this is just mine, but I found out that these ones are going to be very well rounded, and I believe that they're going to give you a nice good foundation on your Buddhist practice. So let me go into the first one. It is What the Buddha Taught by Walpola Rahula. And so this was not my first Buddhist book, but it was one of the first ones I had. And so this one's coming from the Theravada tradition of Buddhism. So basically it's the Southern transmission or Southeast Asian Buddhism. It's very well done. He's a well-respected author, and he was also a Buddhist monk. And you can tell it's not very thick, but it covered a lot of different topics. So just factor that in with all the books I'm going to talk about today. They're giving you a lot of information, right? But it's probably not going to be everything. Now, if we were like Buddhist monks, or scholarly, monks or researchers, there's like something called an Abhidharma, which is going to be commentaries on the sutras. I mean, there's a lot that actually goes into understanding in the scriptures. So it's just not like, well, I'm going to read it and understand it. There's a lot that goes into it. So you're getting a nice consolidated version of the Buddhist teachings right here. I like this one, but just factor in it's just on the Theravada tradition only. My next one is The Heart of the Buddhist Teachings by Thich Nhat Hanh. So Thich Nhat Hanh is a very well-known, worldwide, very well-respected Buddhist monk and teacher. This is a great book if you can only afford just like one book initially. This is also one I recommend to people just because I call it a monk in a book. It's basically a short book as well, just like the other one. But what's great about it is from Thich Nhat Hanh, he does a great job of explaining Buddhist teachings to everyday people like you and me. And so he's very well known for that. But what's great about it, he's a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. So in Vietnamese Buddhism, it's actually kind of a combination of Mahayana Buddhism and also Theravada Buddhism because of the location. So you're kind of getting a mixture inside here of both traditions as it relates to Vietnamese Buddhism, but it's telling you from the Mahayana perspective mostly here. So this is a great book. Just factor in if you're purely Theravada, you're like, well, I'm never going to look at anything Mahayana in my life. Probably not going to be the book for you, but it's excellent. I think for anybody just starting off new to Buddhism, regardless, and if you're not even sure like what tradition you want to follow, this is a good one to read from a very well-known and very well-respected Buddhist monk. Also from Thich Nhat Hanh. Seems I'm doing lots of Thich Nhat Hanh, right? He's an excellent author. He's had hundreds of books he's written, and a lot of them are really good. This one is Old Path, White Clouds. Unusual name for a book, but it's a great book, but it's also really thick. And so what this one is basically a novelization of the Buddhist life. So the Buddha is our founder, our teacher, right? So it would be helpful to understand something about the Buddha. So what I like about this one is, there's lots of different books out there where they go over the Buddhist life. But what Thich Nhat Hanh has done, this is like one of his early works and one of his like very well-known and respected works. It's actually derived from lots of different Buddhist scriptures from the various traditions. So you're just not getting like, just whatever. He's actually pulling from the different scriptures to actually help us as novelization. And why do we need that? Well, no one wrote down the Buddha's, past life, all the parts of his life. We have the sermons, the sutras, but that's only showing us like one part of the Buddhist life. So there's lots of gaps. So he's filling in the gaps inside here in a very well done way. But what I would like to recommend is like, this is a very thick book, right? The way I like to read this book is actually by audiobook. So like on Audible, there's a version, it's excellent. It's very well done. One of my favorite books to actually read, not just by learning about the Buddhist life, but you also learn the Buddhist teachings inside here as well. So it's all kind of contained. One more book by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's Awakening the Heart. So what you're having inside here is just a few Buddhist scriptures. And so Thich Nhat Hanh actually recommends the scriptures inside here for anybody who's new to Buddhism or established who wants to have a few scriptures always by their bedside or by their altar or whatever the case might be that you can always refer to. Now it's also a very thick book, but there's a reason for that. So the actual scriptures are very short, if you will. They're not going to take up much of the book, but it's his commentaries. So what I always recommend to people who are going to, be new to Buddhism yes, you can read the scriptures, but you need really guidance on that. So just, reading the scriptures, you may assume you understand what it means. But we're talking about something that happened like 2,600 years ago. And there's been, centuries of analysis and commentary on those sutras. If you just read the sutras, the scriptures by yourself, you're probably missing out on what people, especially the monks and nuns, have actually understood about it. So he does that here, and just factor into, this is his opinion, interpretation, and analysis of the scriptures as he relates it to us, which, everyone's going to have a different opinion, different analysis, so just factor that in as well. But he's a very well-known, very well-respected Buddhist monk, and what's very unusual about this, but also great, he's including not just Mahayana scriptures, which you're going to find the popular ones inside here, but also some Theravada scriptures as well too. So this is great. You're getting a very well-rounded tradition experience inside here, but it's great for everyday practice. I think this is fantastic. Now, if you're purely Theravada, you're like, I'm never going to look at one Mahayana scripture, whatever the case might be. Or even if you are inside Mahayana, I would also recommend this book. It's kind of like an add-on to the book I was showing you. It's In the Buddha's Words by Bhikkhu Bodhi. So Bhikkhu Bodhi is another very well-known Buddhist monk in the Theravada tradition. And so what you're getting here is it's also a thick book, but it's basically his commentaries, analysis of the Buddhist scriptures inside the Pali Canon of Theravada Buddhism. So can you read this if you're in Mahayana? Absolutely. So actually this book was recommended in one of my sutra study classes at my temple, which is Mahayana. So it's perfectly fine, because if you really look at the Buddhist scriptures, the Buddhist sermons are basically identical between Theravada Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism in our canons. And the reason is they all came from the same ancient Indian origin. There's difference in maybe translations and stuff like that, but it's essentially the same doctrinally. So this is a great book to get as well. And then the final book, it sounds kind of unusual, but it's the Complete Idiot's Guide to Understanding Buddhism by Gary Gosch. And so this is a great book. It's not that thick, but it's nicely broken up. And this is also going to be a subjective one to, like, what general book about Buddhism do you recommend to somebody, by a non-monk? So that's always going to be an opinion-based one. I just really, like Gary's, humor inside this, and the way he just covered everything thoroughly, but also not in a complicated way. So, if you're like, well, I just need like one book just kind of like to understand Buddhism, this one's good, and there's plenty out there, but I like Gary. I like his humor inside here, and just like how he explained things. Nice, short, and it's not really complicated to read. So those are my top picks for you. And I got a lot more on my website as well too. So if you're looking for some free resources, free books, ebooks also, I got that all in my article on my website, which I'll put in the description below, a link to that, or inside a post if you're watching this video from that way. But what are your favorite books inside Buddhism? And do you have any questions about these books? Let me know, and I'd be glad to help. Thank you.